All right, greetings YouTube neighbors. So today I want to talk about 5 different things you could do to improve your tractor. And specifically we're talking about attachments. Modifications are kind of a different topic altogether, but I have some, I think, good ideas for you. And I've covered this before if you've been following the channel for a while, but I'm going to recover it because I've just got this machine about a month ago, and I want to talk about things I personally have done already. So the first one here, it's kind of interesting to see, is this black tube, which is my chain bucket holder. So this is a 4-inch PVC pipe, and then in it, you can kind of see the chain is sitting in there. So I have a 20-foot chain that's sitting in that pipe. Oh, and I gotta push them back in here. And then basically I have this nice clean spot. It's far enough away from the 3-point lift mechanism. They're not gonna interfere with each other, and I just painted it black. And then I used steel hose clamps to hose clamp it to several pieces of the frame that don't move. And up here on this plastic piece, I actually cut small holes just where the hose clamp can go through and hold it. So it's been sitting there basically since I had the machine. Valuable. Honestly, a chain will improve functionality on your machine like you wouldn't believe. If there's a log too far out in the swamp, and I got a lot of swamp, the chain can get there, and then all you have to do is get to the tractor, or get to 20 feet away basically from that log. The chain does the work. It actually goes in the nasty spot. If you got to lift something really awkward, the chain can fix that. If you also want to somewhat be careful with whatever you're trying to lift, the bucket isn't always the best tool. The chain can be more gentle because now you can wrap like a towel basically with the chain and lift whatever item it is you have to lift. So I highly recommend it. A chain bucket, that right there is probably 15 bucks. I put an end cap on it. And then obviously I'd recommend cutting up and using the pipe for other projects. Item number 2, toolbox. So some of the Coyotes out there do come just with a natural toolbox. Many tractors do not sell them with a toolbox attached. So what I did in this case is this is just a generic like $20 Fleet Supply plastic toolbox. But what I like is has several different openings. So like I have tape, I've got a marker, little utility knife, open it up. I got a bunch of random stuff, and then obviously there's the big bin on the bottom, again, with just more random stuff you might end up needing. I took some long bolts. I'm gonna do my best here, best camera work. All right, so I took some long bolts, wrapped them around this part of the frame. This is actually what's holding it mostly, is that goes into the box. There's a piece of metal in here. It's basically tighten this together, and then those spacers are just 2x4s I cut and painted, and that's keeping it together. And then I took, again, some long hose clamps. You'll see I like hose clamps a lot. They've treated me well. They do good in the elements, good in the cold, good in the heat. So yeah, I think every tractor manufacturer, if you're selling aftermarket parts, I think everybody should be selling some type of universal attachment to put a toolbox on their tractor, because there is space in the cab. You can do a lot with that, but this is just hard to replace. There's always knickknacks, random tools. You need a wrench for where you're going on what project you're going to work on. It's awesome just to be able to have a toolbox there, throw it in there. I usually have regular things sit in there, so I know, hey, if this video cut out on me. So I keep tools in there just in case of certain situations happen that are frequent. I got a way to do whatever it is I need to do. So yeah, number 2, toolbox. Number 3 is a unique one. I haven't seen anybody recommend this, so I am going to do my best job. It's a little hard for me to film in the cab. All right, here we go. So right up here, you can see that yellow, and you can see a tool just sitting here. That is a magnetic tool holder. And so there's this space on the cab. It's basically just part of the frame that it's got a gap between the two pieces of metal, because it's just almost a horseshoe shaped piece of metal. And so then I took, I believe, 18-inch magnetic tool bar, and I cut it into 3 different sections. Here we go. And then I just took some outdoor cocked them in, and that's it. So then I put them in 3 parts of the tractor. Obviously putting them right here because those are tools. Again, I end up using a lot. It's easy to throw them in there. The reason I did 3 was just because of how this size was. It worked better that way. I put it again on this side. I got my Leatherman there, and then I put one right there. That yellow thing is in the back of the cab. That's another one I glued in. Trailer pins, cotter pins, things you're like, okay, I'm going to use this again in 10 seconds. I just want somewhere safe to put it. Awesome. Truly, I don't know. I didn't come up, I guess I did somewhat come up with the idea myself, but basically I was putting them up in my garage, and I thought, you know, in the tractor, this would be pretty sweet because those magnets are actually pretty dang strong. They work really good. So I decided I'm going to do that myself. So here we are. All right, so that was number 3. Item number 4. Again, you'll see a theme with this PVC pipe and hose clamps is basically take PVC pipe to make tool holders. So this is just 3 pieces of PVC that have been randomly zip tied and painted together. Now, how is this valuable to you? It depends on what you're going to use it for. So again, I leave these up here because I don't like little branches running across my cab and these nice windows. So I keep a little pair of basically tree clippers, so to go clip things just to make sure, you know, if it's on my trail. But then you can get a little bit more advanced with it. So that's what I've done on the front here. So you'll see this piece of PVC here. So again, that's a 2-inch piece of PVC with a cap on it, and I've cut it into 2 different lengths, so they're again hose clamped to the front there. They don't interfere at all with the hood opening. And then I can stick a garden rake in there. I can stick a shovel in there, whatever I want. The one thing on this size tractor with just how the booming up functions on this machine, if you go to a certain height, it's about 6 or 7 feet. Basically, that stabilizer bar on your loader is going to hit whatever you have there. Shovel, rake, doesn't matter. So it's not something you're going to want to use all the time. But for me, I move a lot of wood chips now, just doing trail maintenance and, you know, doing dirt, doing seed. I like to leave some implements there for that. And I've got them with me. And I don't have to carry anything on the back. Because, you know, putting things on your 3-point, because you can put a carry-all back there, but a lot of times this ends up being used for something else. Like this is where I have the tiller. This is where I have the cultipacker. It's not where my tools are going to sit. So I really like that. It worked really good on my small Kubota. It's worked good on every machine I've had. I've been doing that a while. And so I think that's one thing you should take a look at. And all right. So here's my 5th item of just basically attachment I think you should add, and it's a saw hull. There's a couple ways to do this. I've also done it where I've taken basically 2 pieces of 2 pieces of plywood, cut them to the length of the bar, and basically pinned them all together. Whether you bolt them, you screw them together, whatever you like. Paint it, but otherwise it's going to rot. And then you can bolt it on basically the same way this has been bolted on. Now the reason plywood is not the best is because that chain is going to slowly wreck whatever you're putting into it, along with the tree spikes. Every time you put it in, it's taking a chunk out of that piece of plywood. And so you're just giving it a life expectancy. Obviously, plywood's not the world's best for being weatherproof, where plastic is just superior. And I've been taking chunks out of that piece of plastic for a while now, and it's holding up just fine. You don't even want it perfectly sealed, because that way when it rains, it can at least drip out on the bottom. So that's item number 5. All right, and I've got some bonus stuff here for you. If you sticked around this long, and then you get to deserve this other one here. So this is just a hitch that is bolted on. Here we go. Bolted on to my quick hitch here. So this is a Cat 1 quick hitch. It would work with a Cat 2 as well. Just an Amazon special where you run it through and bolt it on. I could weld it on. I was originally planning to do that, and now I'm like, well, if I ever need to take it off for any reason. But this doesn't interfere with my PTO shaft. It's clear away from it. Obviously, if you're getting an offset mower, The offset goes this way. It goes the opposite way of that, and so that's why it's there. I also got this like cute little magnetic pin to quickly pin it on. And then behind it, what I've done is zip tied another piece of 3-inch PVC to put this heavy hitch, kind of multi-universal style hitch. So that way it's a drop pin, it's a hook, and it's a 2-inch ball. It'll move whatever you want, basically. So that's item number 6 for those of you stuck around. So yeah, overall, I think I've given you some good ideas. Now, these are not all the modifications I've done. Obviously, right here, I added a little quick detach fire extinguisher. So I'm gonna flip you around here. Pull that red pin, whole thing comes out, you got a fire extinguisher. I've never had a fire on a tractor or anything like that, but I've seen enough fires now to understand that, hey, if one fire extinguisher saves something, it's probably worth it. It's not a bad safety investment out here. I'm a little curious on how it'll work with the cold in Minnesota, because this thing doesn't sit inside, it just sits, in an empty hay barn. So that'll be interesting. And then, yeah, there's been other things on the inside that have been small modifications or just additions, but not as impactful. I would also highly recommend my buddy seat. Here you can see how flat it sits when it's not being used. Frankly, I don't even notice it. There's plenty of room still to get in here, and let's just hop in there for a second. I'm 6 foot, about 190 pounds normally. Plenty of room. Plenty of room with that thing. I really don't notice it. I mean, my knee hits the steering column more than I hit that buddy seat when it's all put together. Now, when it's out and there's somebody in there, yep, I bring my knee in a little bit. But again, it's another attachment you could add to the machine. I think adds a lot of value for it. So, hey, I didn't stick to my 5. I tried to give you some free cheese there at the end. If you appreciated this video, if it helped you in any way, gave you an idea, do me a favor. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. Until next time.